In popular media, biases are typically described under a negative light. They are often viewed as, and in many cases are, a hindrance to achieve the full potential of our humanity. While consciously holding on to biases to support a particular non-inclusive worldview should indeed be condemned, we should be careful to draw a distinction between conscious and unconscious biases. Unconscious biases, the type we'll discuss here, happen because of human cognition. They are unconscious and automatic processes that developed at the dawn of humanity for the sake of ensuring our survival. Think of it. Our brains process 11 million bits of information per second via our 5 senses. Our eyes alone process 10 million pieces of information per second. That is a remarkable amount of information. Considering these staggering numbers, it would be quite impossible to bring the sum of all experiences into the conscious mind. The reality is we live the vast majority of our lives in the non-conscious mind. Because we are constantly processing information at these speeds, our brains sometimes take cognitive shortcuts by equating one thing with another from our past experiences. This natural cognitive process leads to the development of unconscious biases. Falling back on a stereotype, therefore, allows our brain to take shortcuts, save time and energy, and in some cases, were instrumental to primitive survival. Our human tendency to bias is so pervasive that scientists have categorized them and identified up to 180 different types of biases. Though it would be impossible to list them all, consider the ability bias, which leads us to set able-bodied people as the norm, or the anchoring bias, which steers us away from considering all information and only focus on the first piece of information we receive when making a decision or solving a problem. Hindsight bias refers to our tendency to perceive past events as more predictable than they actually were, since now we know their outcomes. Confirmation bias is our pervasive tendency to interpret new information as confirmation of our pre-existing beliefs and opinions. Some of us are even affected by the so-called beauty bias, an unconscious belief that people who are more attractive are also more trustworthy, competent, qualified, and successful. Although unconscious biases developed as a natural part of humanity's evolution, they do lead us at times to display unwanted discriminatory behaviors that have no place in our world and certainly have no place in the veteran service space. When providing guidance to our veteran clients, we cannot let our tendencies to bias affect the services we provide. Because our mission is to equitably serve all veterans with care and respect, it is crucial we take control of our thoughts. Unbridled bias prevents us from providing equitable services to our clients. But if biases are hardwired in our brains and part of our very cognition, if biases are unconscious and automatic processes, how can we control them? Aren't we condemned to be the victims of our own biases? Because our brains can always learn new skills, we can take the time to identify and understand our unconscious biases. We can work to be more inclusive by challenging our own assumptions and taking action. We can consciously spend time with people who are different from us and learn to appreciate their uniqueness. The path forward, therefore, is to exercise our metacognition, introspection, and self-awareness to mitigate our biases. The National Veterans Training Institute has developed a course specially designed with veteran service providers in mind to help you learn how biases work and develop strategies to identify and mitigate them. It will challenge your thinking by placing you in realistic, real-life scenarios. Are you interested in learning more about yourself and your own propensity for bias? Would you like to learn techniques and strategies to override your unconscious cognitive processes? Do you want to start your journey towards mastering your decision-making to provide better and more equitable services to your veteran clients? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, come and learn with us. Register for the next offering of NVTI's 9650, Unconscious Bias, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility in Veteran Services course.